Arne, we'll start with a serious topic. What do you make of the abuse that's directed at referees that's been highlighted this week with online abuse to Michael Oliver? And what responsibility is there for players, coaches, even the media as well, to set an example?
Yeah, no, we all have a responsibility when it comes to this. We are aware of that, and maybe not always we've been perfect examples, but we are human beings as well. But we try to be as responsible as possible. The good thing in this country is the atmosphere in every ground we go to, every stadium is fantastic, and that's not everywhere in Europe. So I was in Holland. There's much more problems in and around the stadium than here in England. So England was maybe the first country that has this under control. Hopefully England can become now also the first country that has the online abuse an answer to that, because it's about referees, but I think players get this, and if as a manager probably as well, if you lose a few games. So the social media thing is something we all are aware of, and hopefully, like I just said, we can get this in a way that this abuse is not there anymore. But at this moment, that's unrealistic.
I just wanted to ask you about Mo Salah as well, because there's quotes from the Saudi sports minister today where he says we would love to have him, which I don't think comes as any surprise to anyone given the numbers he's producing. But looking at it from an objective point of view, what would your advice be to someone like Mo over a move to Saudi when he's playing at the level that he is at the moment in terms of the numbers that he's producing?
Yeah, I would be surprised if there's anyone wherever around the world saying we don't want Mo Salah. So he's doing so well for so many years that everybody probably wants him, and he's done so well without my advice for a long time. So he can probably keep doing what is best for his career even without my advice. But my advice to him would be different than than the one you just mentioned.
Can you expand on that slightly then? If your advice would be different?
No. What I mean with different is that everybody wants him, including us. We want him to extend, of course, as well. So, yeah, that is clear. But I'm not surprised that Saudi wants him. But I'm also not surprised would not be surprised if other countries want him as well. So, yeah, he's been old and wise enough. He's done so many smart things in his career that he will make the right decision for himself and hopefully for us as well.
We will look at football because Bournemouth, 9 first team players injured, 11 Premier League games though unbeaten, 9 goals in the last 2 games, beating Newcastle and Nottingham Forest as well. So how do you assess the challenge that you face this weekend?
Yeah, it's a big one, and this is probably going to sound strange, and I knew this already when we played the second half against them in our home game. We were 3-0 up at half time, and I was expecting a second half where we could just control the game, have the ball a bit and hope maybe score the 4th one, but they just kept on going at us for 45 minutes, and that showed me the character of the team. And since then they've been outstanding. They were before that game also, because we were 3-0 up at half time. We didn't really match the first half in my opinion. Maybe we deserved to be up, but not with 3 goals. And afterwards they've beaten so many strong teams, and it's a simple reason for that. A lot of quality created by Richard, of course. He created our current sports director, who worked there for a few years, and he hired a fantastic manager as well. Why is he a fantastic manager? He has a great game plan, and his players work incredibly hard. And then in a different way than Arsenal, they are also a threat in set pieces. So where Arsenal 9 out of 10 times does the same, they always come up with worked ones that have been very useful for them as well. So in every department, a very good and strong team, and they deserve to be where they are. Maybe they even deserve a bit higher than the position they are at the moment.
Thank you.
Just following on from that, I don't know how much you've maybe seen the career of Justin Kluivert so far. I mean, 11 million euros, and look at the development that he's had. He's looking like an incredible bargain. What do you make of him as a player?
Yeah, he's one of the many examples where I think Richard deserves a lot of credit for. But not only Richard, the manager, of course, as well, because he started working with him. And you know that I believe that the team makes individual better. So, yeah, you need quality. and that's what Richard brought there, and his successor probably as well. But I think most of the players that are there were there last season already as well, and the manager has done an incredible job. So Justin, great season he's having. Nice and good to see for us, because we always knew he was a big talent. He left Holland quite early. He was a bit criticized for that, because in Holland many people always feel you need to have some extra years in the Eredivisie before you go abroad. But he's a great example that you can be really successful by going abroad early and go to a few clubs, and then at a certain age, because I think he's only 24, he's not so old yet, and be at this level already. So he will play another big talent that has grown up at Ajax, Ryan Gravenberch. So interesting matchup tomorrow.
Obviously, you rested a lot of players in the previous game. We're expecting you'll make a lot of changes, but how is the rest of the squad? Any other players coming back from injury, etc.?
Yeah, you can say I rested a lot of players. You can also say you played the ones that needed playing time. And I was really pleased how they performed in PSV Eindhoven, who were, apart from 3 or 4 players that were not playing, had quite a strong team, and we were more than competitive even the second half when there were so many youngsters on the pitch. And the ones that stayed behind, they didn't rest in the sense that they had 3 or 4 days off. They did train, but they didn't play a game. And I said already that doesn't give us any guarantees for Saturday, but it hopefully will help us during the upcoming 3 or 4 months, because it's the Premier League and the Champions League is a long season for them, with 10 months in a row non-stop playing games without any weeks off in between. So hopefully that will help them to stay fresh for the upcoming months that are coming.
Hi Arne. We saw Federico Chiesa play the 90 minutes against PSV. Every time he always seems to be really positive, always wants to attack. How much of a threat could he be for the rest of the season, and is he ready for more minutes in the Premier League as well if called upon?
Yeah, of course. He's ready for more minutes in the Premier League, because if you can play 90 at Champions League level, then you are able to play an amount of minutes in the Premier League. His main problem, if you want to call it a problem, is that he's in competition with Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, Cody Gakpo, Mo Salah and Diogo Jota. And I think you agree with me that they are doing quite well also. But it's very good for us that it was 6 or 7 months ago, he said, against Swiss when they lost in the Euros, was his last time he played 90 minutes. So it's very good from him, but definitely also from our performance staff, that we've, during training sessions, got him to the point that he's able to play 90 minutes without a lot of friendlies or whatever he has to play. So big compliment for him, how hard he's worked, and for the performance of medical staff as well.
I know you mentioned Dominik Szoboszlai after the game last weekend, but at the end of last season he was talking about the difference between the pace of the Bundesliga and the Premier League, and he maybe set the bar himself too high and didn't perform as well as he could have done in some games. What have you seen from this season to give you that kind of opinion that he can play that role for you this season now, how well he's doing?
If he said what you said, then I will talk to him today or tomorrow and say, at this club you can never set the bar too high, because that's impossible. The bar at this club is of the highest standards, and this is what you have to, where you have to get to. So, but probably he meant that he played some really good games, and in football it's impossible to play. If you play 60 games of a certain level, you can always go a bit lower. That's normal, but not too far. And then we are talking about consistency, and this season he's been very consistent in his work rate, which is a main thing in football. It's underestimated sometimes, but I just highlighted why Bournemouth is doing so well. I think it's one of the reasons why we do so well also. But he's not only working hard. If he works hard, the intensity he can run at, the intensity he can play duels in with is of the highest standards of this level we are playing at. So that's what for me stands out with him compared to many others. The ability for him to run in a certain intensity and keep on running. And I think what he is improving recent weeks or recent months is that he's more and more involved in dangerous attacks and sometimes in assists and goals. In the last game he was involved in 2 goals. So that is something he deserves because he's putting so much work in. And his technique is also outstanding. So I've always felt that it's a matter of time before he would score goals, give assists, because his shot, his touch on the ball, yeah, he should set the standards high because he is a player that can reach definitely those standards.
Okay.
Hi, Arne. You mentioned Richard Hughes. He obviously played a big part in assembling this Bournemouth side. So, have you spoken to him before the game, and can you talk about how your relationship is with working with him?
Yeah, I spoke with him before this game, as I speak to him before every game, and 1 day before the game, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, we almost speak each other on a daily basis. Of course, I asked him a few things on Bournemouth as well, but we have very good people that analyze Bournemouth. And I'm doing this myself quite a lot as well. I see a lot of games of them already. So it's just the more information you can get, the better it is. But my relationship with him is very good, which is probably what you can expect if you win a lot of games, because mostly relationships between managers and sports directors are a bit under debate if you start to lose a lot. But no, my relationship with him is only very positive from start till now.
Carl?
Just to go back to the question you were asked about giving advice to Mo, and I know you're not involved in transfers and contract negotiations, but have you expressed your thoughts to those 3 players that are out of contract and some about where you see, what you want from them and where you see their future?
I think you know the answer to this question, don't you? The answer is, of course, I speak with these players. I speak with them not every day like Richard, but quite a lot. And it would be ridiculous if in all these times I speak to them, we've never spoken about the future. So, of course, we do. But as you probably also know, that's not something I'm going to discuss with you, where we are talking about. But, yeah, but it's not only with the 3 that are out of contract. You also talk about future things with the other players as well. So it's a non-stop process talking to your players, but it's also a non-stop process that I will not talk about that here in public with you.
Just specifics on timeline for Jota's return. Joe Gomez, is he ready to return to the squad, and Andy's Darwin fit?
All 3 of them are in training today. So then the question is, are they already far enough to join us towards Bournemouth? That's something we have to wait and see today, because we have probably also more than 20 players available. And we always have more than 20 available, but the ones that are mostly there. So we have to make the smartest decision for them, but also for winning the game tomorrow.
Hi Arne, you mentioned a few times there about how hard Bournemouth work and the physical attributes they've been to a game. We know they run more than anyone else in the Premier League. How much is winning that physical battle going to go towards winning the game, and how much did that influence your decision to rest so many players in midweek?
Oh, that hasn't had any. There was no reason, because we play Bournemouth and they run so much, to rest them during the week. We would have done that against any other team that we face, because I already said it's not about, we rested them not because of the Bournemouth game, we rested them more for the long term, because and it's quite a long time between November and March that there's an international break and I have a week off, but then I know Virgil, I know because the Dutch team, I know that they play 2 games against Spain, so for them it just keeps on going, and that's why I've already also explained that if you look at our season, after every 3, 4 or 5 weeks, we've tried to create a moment where players like Virgil and all the others that have played so many games didn't play during the week. Mostly there was a League Cup game that they didn't play. So, was that an answer to your question?
How much the physical battle against a team like Bournemouth, who use those strengths so well, how much is that going to play towards winning the game?
Yeah, a lot. a lot. If you can't compete with them in that aspect, then you need luck to win the game, and then you need a special moment or a special save or a lot of special saves from Ali to win the game. But if we're able to compete with them on a physical level, then the margins for us to have a chance to win the game go up a lot, of course. But if we cannot compete with them physically, which I think we definitely can, because we are a team that's really fit as well. I agree with you, they're just above us. Probably also has to do that we have a bit more ball possession than them. But I think it's one of the few games we've played this season that we were outrun, only by a small margin, but we were outrun against Bournemouth. And I hope that's going to be different tomorrow. But it's just not going to be easy.
I don't know if you've made any decision on whether James McConnell and Jayden Dance might be allowed to go out on loan. Not necessarily if you will, but if you would be allowed to, if the interest was there.
These are also ongoing discussions we have, and you know how it is in football. Yesterday can be different than today or tomorrow. So if I can give you a certain answer now and then, of course, we're not hoping that this is going to happen. But if I then leave the training pitch and we are free injuries along the training session, then it's going to be a different answer. So it's a process we are discussing a lot about, and these decisions will be made, will be pushed towards the end of the window, which is almost there.
Thank you. Thanks, Arne.